Good morning. Just watched the Q&A program we have here in New Zealand. It's a political show, Sunday mornings, out there, And yesterday I watched the Nation on the other major network in this country, right? And I'm a bit disappointed because Patrick Gower on the Nation program interviewed Jerry Brownlee, who is the earthquake minister, effectively, natural disaster coordinator, and Patrick Gower first he ankle tapped the guy, and then he kicked him in the guts, and then he actually kicked him in the gonads. And that is a completely despicable thing I saw, right? Because Jerry Brownlee is an extremely sincere, dedicated, hard-working Kiwi battler, man, if there ever was one, eh? He has had an extremely difficult time of it, right? Then we go to the Q&A program this morning, right? And they're talking about, there's a few different segments, right? The minister that got interviewed again, and all I can say is that the way the media treat the minister, really, it's like the narcissistic, there's an element of sociopath in what they're doing when you get this guy that is hugely dedicated and they attack him like that, right? That's not in the public interest, okay? And to promote those values as what children should be aspiring to be when they grow up, right? This is the social statistics in this country, right? That they have been promoting anxiety as wisdom, and they have been pushing it quite aggressively for a long time, right? You saw the on the Nation program, right? You saw that there was another interview with the US representative at the UN Security Council, right? Anyone that knows anything, right, knows that she, if the majority, if the 99% actually took a quality view of how she has been carrying herself on behalf of the US and that Security Council, they would be relatively disgusted, because there's none of it is about the news, right? None of it is about fact. It is about the aspirations of the politics. And as my other video will show, that really what they're trying to do is have, they're promoting the political correctness of anxiety as the moral authority. And that is really the philosophy underpinning their political perspective and what aspirations they have, the optimum outcome they want, right? And going back to the Q&A program, they had a little chit-chat about, with this eminent US professor woman, Ad Matty, who was talking about, who she was asked, what does she think a Trump presidency, what will happen economically? How will it play out economically with Trump's policies over, the terms of like his presidency, right? And they immediately segued over to how the banking system, the state of the banking system and the behaviour of the banking system. and they were trying to give a vote of confidence. She was trying to give a vote of confidence to the health of the banking system, right? Well, this is what I think about the banking system, okay? Because actually the banking system has obtained by deception the moral authority over society and government by virtue of the power of money that is largely generated because of the philosophy to anxiety, right? Now, what I would have the banking system do is I would have in New Zealand, right? I would have it either that they disclose who their shareholders are, and then they can give an itemised account of how they are reciprocating respect back to the community, right? Because not all of them are equals in that respect, okay? Like billions of dollars a year, literally probably 10 billion a year goes offshore. And that is just profits being raked out of the country, right? They are not providing a service to us, okay? They are a profit-motivated organisation. It's an industry, okay? It's a business. See, they take this perspective that they are part of government, right? And they absolutely are not. But they like to give that impression, okay? So when it comes to too big to fail, right, the middle class is the only thing that is too big to fail, and anything, I believe, anything that seeks to give the appearance that they are an equal to what is the largest political group, which is the fucking middle class and the people, right? That should be nationalised, because otherwise, where are we as a society? I know where we are. We are where we are, and it's because of fucking that. Because they do carry themselves like they're the moral authority of society. And it's interesting, right? Because they actually copying anxiety. Right, they are copying anxiety, like the 8 Laws says. The 8 Laws, right, really does fit every single facet of the human experience, man. They overtly portray themselves as the leading feature in our country, while it's virtually ignored, you know. They are this giant cult, really. They're this big secret society, okay? Nobody knows who these shareholders are, right? They're this big secret society, and nobody even talks about the true influence over society that they're doing. Nobody can articulate that influence, and that's because of the 8 Laws of Anxiety and the philosophy to anxiety as well. Nobody can articulate a challenge to what they're doing. Because really, the big banking system and all these shareholders, they're doing exactly the same thing as poor people do. Okay, the only way to deal with money issues is to get more money. And that's only on paper. After the fact, it becomes some kind of religious mania, it's fundamentalism, and you generally buy into it wholesale. And that's why a lot of poor people, they just get really, really good at being poor. They have a really highly effective way of building some kind of good lifestyle while being poor, and they actually spend a lot of energies getting better and better at that. And so what I believe the banking system should do, either they disclose their shareholders and itemise how they're engaging with the community, right? Or they can just or they can actually cease to operate in this country. And I believe that, really seriously, there shouldn't be anything like private banking. There should be not. It should be a nationalised, government-run thing, right? And let's say I'll flip it over just quickly. If they gave 3/4 of their profits directly back to the communities, right? They would only need to do that for like 3 or 4 years, and then they would have a massive growth. Anyway, they would experience massive growth if the banks put their profits into the community wholesale, like 3/4. Because this woman, Ed Maddie, she was saying that she thinks that banks should retain more of their profits, right? Yeah, I think collectively in the whole world, right, the chessboard has gotten real small, man, and philosophically and politically, the chessboard has become much, much smaller, and it really does challenge this idea of the conspiracy theory of the Illuminati and all these conspiracy theories, because there's no way, if that was true, there was no way they would want the internet starting up, man, because everyone's very educated. I'm entirely, YouTube is the ninth wonder of the world, because it is in touch in real time with anything you want, and it is the ultimate advice. It's the ultimate source of wisdom about things. Any number of tutorials about operating machines or technology or freaking out your fucking cell phone or whatever, right? And so yeah, if the banks did that, if they wholesale put most of their profits back into the community directly, okay, and then after 3-4 years stopped, okay, they would experience a massive profit boom over what they had previously experienced, right? Okay, and I would think that that's what they should do. Otherwise, they can just F off, because actually that's a massive problem that this entity, this political entity that actually is not emotionally invested in the community, is taking a shit. It's taking our strength, man, and our future off us, right? For what? For they've got trillions of dollars of wealth, right? And they fucking want every fucking cent they can get, and they've configured it with economic blackmail to the government. They've had all these regulations created for them, right? Because I know about regulations, man. The 8 laws of anxiety are my that I've written. That is the regulatory environment that underpins religion and financial philosophy, how domestic violence plays out, how wars are started, and how they're maintained, and this fucking whole culture of the media where they're so obsessed with anxiety, man. This is all. The 8 laws of anxiety hypothesis is a unified theory of the human condition. And it is fact, and I dare anyone to go and look at it and not come to that conclusion, because I've made that it's strictly from observation of the human behaviour, okay? It is the first instance of we can honestly call quantum sociology. And yeah, so these dudes on the panels of these shows, right? The Q&A, right, he had, there was a doctor of political science from Otago there. There was Miss Bogue from Auckland, right, and then there was Matt McCartan was on there too. And now I'm in New Zealand and we know who these people are, but the doctor of sociology, right, he accounted for himself every bit as good as a educated teenager, actually. Miss Bogue, right, she, I think, is a bit standoffish, and thus is the word she produced. She is a bit standoffish, right, and Mr. McCartan, he is actually quite good. He's a bit bolshy, and he is prepared to actually say something with a bit of courage behind it, right? And I thought what he had to say was a bit objective, and he showed, actually, by referencing the other two participants, that he is able to listen. And so this person, Mr. McCartan, I think he believes in courage, actually, and the other two don't. The doctor of political science, he is like he's playing the whole 8 Laws thing where he pretends he's really engaged, but actually he's saying everything that you say to not be engaged, actually. He's pretending to be wise. He's the emperor's new clothes, right? And Miss Bogue, I mean, there's not much else you can do under this jurisdiction of the 8 Laws of Anxiety but to be standoffish if, and maintaining your position is the best you can hope for, right? And so that's why her words. And, I wouldn't even worry about the TV3 panel because they are, I tell you, the one thing on the Q&A when Mr. Brownlee was being interviewed is the interviewer asked a question regarding the feelings of the people in the rural communities that they might feel a bit isolated. The media, in comparison to those people in the rural communities, need to be put in a kind of they need to spend some time in a convalescent facility because they are insane, because they are addicted to promoting anxiety, where the people in the country, they only have courage. Anxiety doesn't exist on the farm. There is no surprises, right? There is only to cope with adverse things that come along and keep your chin up, and in all respects life goes on. You overcome the problems. And so courage is the main culture in the agriculture communities. Courteousness, listening, respect, and doing things for people without being asked. Okay, you look to what needs doing and then you go and do it. And you're always acting as a group. Town is not a group. Town is a whole lot of different groups and hardly any of them talk to each other, right? They've all got these secret agendas, these secret politics. They've always got these secret prejudices against other groups. In the rural community, that whole thing does not exist. Everyone in the rural community is part of the community. You could almost have a nationality in the whole world where you had a passport because you were from a rural community, because everywhere in the world, in all rural communities, they all act the same. They all work like that. So this is part of the heinous crime that's going on in the Middle East, because mostly everyone in the Middle East is like that too. That's why they don't have that predatory banking system. They don't need it because they mostly just do things for each other. Okay, and so I had to have a rant because that program, these political, there's nothing as pathetic as two media people discussing politics, right? This is disgusting, and there's no common sense in it. And the thing is courage versus anxiety always. So today is a bit of a rant about the stupid fucking media, anyway. Trump rocks, and the world is a better place even for what he has achieved by putting the media on notice, by calling it how he sees it. I mean, one of the first things he said when he started talking about it was, what did we ever get out of Vietnam except for a lot of death? Now, that's a pretty blunt observation, which is what he's got. He's strictly no BS. And we can have lots of confidence in Trump just for that. He might, trip up on this and that. There'd be probably several faux pas, dealing with people. But also, I think there's a lot of people very proud of him. And point of fact that Modi, who's been the leader of India for the last while, he is going to get along with Trump extremely well, because Modi's also on this thing of, basically, right, he's installing the values of courage. He's overthrowing the moral authority and taking it from anxiety. Peace.